Marvel Rivals seemed like a game that was specifically built to break into an established medium and smash every barrier it could. Now I want you to imagine Concord sitting in a steel chair watching this unfold. Marvel Rivals did something I really didn't think was possible. Overwatch is still breathing, and dare I say it decided it was going to finally start trying for the first time in 5 years. Though it did see a drop with Rivals' release that has yet to truly equalize out. Rivals does have some pretty strong advantages. The IP is renowned worldwide, has an entire cinematic universe backed upon hundreds of comics, and the game directly sells itself on the fantasy of playing those storied characters. It was basically impossible for it to fail. Marvel Rivals is Overwatch but third person and based on Marvel properties. I'll rip off the band-aid right now and say that I still prefer Overwatch, but as long as you add some qualifiers to that. I've only been playing the 6v6 and classic tests since my last Overwatch video. Everything else was a hostage situation. Thankfully, Marvel Rivals is 6v6, so I'm as happy as could be. However, since we're talking about the game months after its release, we can all agree that we have a bit more hate in our heart. I'm gonna roll through some random heroes, and chances are good one of them is gonna raise your blood pressure. And in case I can make the world a better place, this is for the wannabe Spider-Man players. The game is a 6v6 hero shooter where you pick from a character from Marvel lore, starting with a metric fuck ton of heroes and capitalizing on its competitors' poor reputation. Then when you think they're done, they pull out a very pretty woman, and I'm starting to think this game scares me a bit. The details of this game are nothing unfamiliar. You select your hero, then you have to fight another team. All of the game modes push you to play in a way that pulls both of you towards a central area. A payload that you push to the end of a line, an objective in the middle of the map that you must capture, and at the start of every match you go and you mute every single person who dares to use their mic. What sets Rivals apart is, well, it's easier to set it apart by the things it doesn't have. While Overwatch has put a ton of rules in to keep itself stable, there are far less rules here. Almost no restraints on stuff like team comp or the sanity of character designs, which sticks to the usual tank, support, and damage roles. It sets Rivals as a distinctly casual game. In fact, you can even quote the developer. So every character we balance for fun, first and foremost. As in if the character is fun or not to play. That's always number one. He continues, casual and competitive coexist, but the majority of players will not play competitive anyway, that's for sure. They just want to have fun with their friends and go, hey, let's queue and do a quick play. The thing to take from that is that Rivals is made for me, but it's also made for the guy getting off his 10-hour shift at the mines. And I have a feeling one day that's going to clash with the hardcore player base that want their game to work properly. Though I also think I can hammer enough nails into my brain to stay on the right side of this game's mission. The characters in Rivals are varied enough that there's going to be one you mesh with. They've often been described as everyone's overpowered so no one is. And that sounds cute on paper, but I want you to look Black Widow in the eyes when you read it out loud. And a lot of these characters clicked for me. Whether it was Star-Lord's in-air action combat, Invisible Woman's ability management, or holding right-click for Doctor Strange. For me, my personal favorites are Star-Lord, Mr. Fantastic, The Thing, Emma Frost, Invisible Woman, and Mantis. I tried to be an avatar and learn all of the disciplines. Tranquil as a forest, but on fire within. I wanted to be able to fill almost every role if my team needed it. It was enough to get into Grandmaster, which sounds like a big deal, but that's probably Diamond in Overwatch, maybe High Diamond. Heroes in Rivals need to fit not just into the hero shooter space, but also into this sad, decrepit space we keep comic book fans, which creates some really interesting constraints, but also a lot of opportunities. In fact, at a glance, a lot of these characters look really messy. Many of them have very random abilities thrown in there. Loki has a passive that allows him to deal more melee damage from behind, which is maybe a stupid fucking idea for a support character who should ideally be spending his time in the backline healing me. Then you remember, it sounds cool on paper for Loki to stab someone in the back and laugh maniacally. As long as the devs leave it there and players don't listen to it, we could just say that Loki has personality. In my experience, being good at Rivals is a mix of knowing the meta and being open-minded so that you can be more malleable for your team. The game keeps hero swapping. When dead or in the spawn room, you can swap to any hero provided it's not one that's already selected. The game has plenty of counters to existing heroes. Spider-Man can kill supports, but his job gets 3 times as difficult when Namor has turrets in the backline that chew him to pieces. Hela swats most flying characters out of the air, and against squishies, Winter Soldier has the subtlety of Discord's newest update. The other knowledge gap I found was in ultimates. These are powerful abilities that each character has that charge as you perform actions within your role. Each one has the power to win a team fight. You are charged with 6 counts of murder, 3 counts of assault with a deadly weapon, 9 counts of domestic terrorism, 3 counts of driving while intoxicated, 2 hate crimes, 15 counts of deploying a chemical weapon in a civilian area, and 1 count of griefing in Spawn. What do you say in your defense? There is very little you can do to avoid getting creamed by someone if they have their ultimate. You have to sense the maleficent aura off them and get out of there before it happens. Either that, or you pray someone on your team has a support ultimate ready. See, damage ultimates kill people rapidly, and tank ultimates stun people, so a support ultimate heals rapidly, allowing you to stave off those intense attacks, resulting in your support ultimates being some of your most valuable tools. Stuff your team saves until you truly need them. It's called the ultimate economy, because we've gotten used to trade wars by now. But remember when I said Rivals doesn't really do rules? Not all support ultimates are created equal, or even heal. If you get on the point while Jeff has his ult, well, I hope you're fucking sorry. Ultimates are slowly becoming a focal point in the game. They charge way too quickly for the amount of impact they have. I could tell you that Luna Snoat's ultimate pauses the game for 12 seconds, but I could also show you the kind of person that uses it. You might think that means I want them to change, and you'd be wrong. Ultimates in this game are fun because it's cool to have your moment. Overwatch elongating the ultimate's cooldown further and further means that you might get 2 a match, even if it's more fair feeling. So I'm willing to accept that sometimes I'm the one who gets boogied on, if it means I get to have the toys too. And since I now have to pay for my brain surgery, this video is sponsored by you on Patreon. I post weekly work in progress updates so that you can see a lot of the manga, chibis, or animations I have before the video goes out. Your name goes in the credits of every video. You also get to directly message me so that you can haggle. This week I'm making a video about how I make videos. I've been recording the process of making the past few videos so that I can break down exactly how I do most of it. It's exclusive to Patreon, but you can get it at any tier. Link to the Patreon in the description. Alright, cool. Back to the video. I want to continue by going through the 3 roles and discussing how I feel about them. Like the Sins of the Father, Marvel Rivals bloated its DPS category. At the time of writing, 20 of the 38 heroes are in the damage category, meaning that some guy wants to perfect his Hawkeye gameplay, and one of you is going to feel the wrath of that. I want to talk about my 2 favorite DPS heroes. Star-Lord is the mobile, speedy hero that we all need in a game like this. He can flank, harass, or play in the middle of the team. The main gimmick is that he has a gun with a high fire rate and a small clip, but it instantly reloads when he dashes. Plus, he can fly around to wherever he wants to be. This allows Star-Lord to dance around people and poke them to death, resulting in a high-octane style of play where you're moving around rapidly, weaving in and out of danger. He also has an E that lets him just hit everyone in a nearby area, followed up by an ultimate that gives him perfect aim, meaning that this is for people that should be good at the game but don't want to be. I would criticize that the characterization could be stronger. His puns and quips feel very surface level. His gameplay is fast, frenetic, and silly, though I feel as though there's a chunk of him missing. Like when I press Q, I want to hear Cheeseburger in Paradise. Then, if I want to try a little harder, I hop onto Mr. Fantastic. While Reed Richards lacks in damage, he can fill a spot as a diet tank. His damage is a sweeping arm attack that doesn't deal a lot of damage, but can hit multiple people, alongside an E that quickly brings him to an ally or enemy, giving him a chance to quickly prioritize someone else's fight. However, he has above average health and sustainability, and that comes down to 2 key parts of his kit, which I have decided to call mogging and mewing. Pressing shift causes you to mog, making him invincible, and letting him absorb damage until he's ready to spit it back out. This allows you to briefly frontline or survive a particularly intense attack. He isn't great at killing people outright until his passive kicks in. If he hits enough people with his abilities, this meter will start to grow. Once it hits 100, he starts mewing. Now he has double the health and deals actual damage for 7 seconds. If there isn't a support nearby, he can flatten most characters in a few seconds. This makes him amazing at diving certain people or taking up a large priority in the fight. His ultimate only does something if the stars align, so he's not perfect, but he provides a certain utility that I found just kept winning me matches. I'm gonna limit it there because I have a lot of video to go, and I don't know how to play that lady that goes, "Behold, stepchild." Supports are healers. They chill out, bless you with magic, and insidiously control the entire meta from the shadows. These are characters that heal and buff their team, with different methods. Mantis deploys healing over time on characters, while Adam Warlock snaps his fingers and deems it so, at the cost of them making terrible puns when shot in order to get their team's attention.
Behind us. That fucking hurt.
I'm gonna derail for a second to say I fucking hate these characters. All of them. Not just support. The only thing that holds it together is a very strong voice cast, injecting these dull lines with the energy they demand. Loki talks with an air of smugness that makes me want to walk him into a nearby Thor player, parentheses affectionately. Mr. Fantastic puts off an air of refined intelligence and patience that makes his complex gameplay feel correct on him. And the way Eric Bra says Moon Knight's ult makes up for all of the times they made poor Laura Bailey say, "Mind the exploding plasma!" No, it's not enough to make me stop playing. Yes, I do want to connect my PC to the Hangzhou province of China. Okay, back to support. The big thing with support is staying alive and being able to actually output your healing. There's no regenerating health. If one team runs out of supports, the DPS and tanks will take all of that damage permanently. Health packs are scattered around in a pinch, but that's like drinking pond water because you're dying. Thankfully, supports have a lot of tools at their disposal to escape flankers. Each one has at least one thing that can save them. Mantis can sleep enemies, Invisible Woman can push you back, and Adam Warlock can point his gun at you and deem it so. Being alive is kind of a hard knife to balance because the blame can fall anywhere. It could be you not using your abilities properly, but it also could be the Lord Icon Psylocke on her way back from spawn for the 10th time this round. But it also could be that you're the reason the Lord Icon Psylocke is on her way back. Healing isn't difficult, but it does require some foresight and, dare I say, aim on some characters. Though it's hard to tell what you could be doing better or how to improve. You could aim better, but you could also ask Namor to move as swift as a coursing river and drop his turrets in the backline. My favorite support character is Invisible Woman. She has a massive dump of things in her kit that initially made her seem messy to me, but over time it felt like a careful tightrope of applying the right power for the right situation. Her heal is a basic M1 bolt tossed out, but she also has a healing shield with its own health bar, giving you the power to shield friends or heal them while you deal with something else. She can toss out a giant force orb that explodes and deals damage to everyone in it, allowing you to break deployables or create damage in a choke. But my favorite is her ability to push and pull enemies. It has a massive radius and a lot of ways you can use it. You can give yourself breathing room from a flanker, pull back an enemy trying to escape, or do the funny and send some player off the map. Then type, "We just wanted it more," when you win. Supports don't always have depth though. If you include their weapons, Cloak and Dagger have a collective 7 tools to use, and that's somehow the amount of brain cells required to play them. Even then, that's 6 more than it takes to play Rocket Raccoon. Rocket is a character from your nightmares. He fires out an orb that heals everyone near it. Also, it bounces. He can do this often if uncontested. And if you do catch him, he has 2 rapid dashes that will reposition him from danger, followed up by the fact that his only other ability is a beacon which will respawn one of his teammates. It's mind-numbing to see a character get this much value from essentially being able to press right-click sometimes. And it goes further. He used to have a trade-off until NetEase changed his ultimate. Before, it was one of the few ultimates in the game that didn't provide sustain. It's a giant pylon that boosts the damage of nearby teammates, meaning that Rocket couldn't counter extremely powerful DPS ultimates in return for the other massive value he brings. Now they reduced its damage buff by allowing it to give out shields instead. And that's not even getting into the real busted stuff. Tank is the role to watch, since that's the one that snapped its predecessor over its spine. I've grown quite fond of Groot because he's the closest thing the game has to anti-healing, and since there is anti-healing in the game, that's saying something. By positioning Groot's walls properly, you can cut off divers from their support, and you get to experience something as euphoric as a health bar going down and not going back up. Groot is widely considered the best tank at the moment, and not just for that reason. However, I was playing him before this happened, so I don't want to hear anything. Though the one you've probably seen the most of is Doctor Strange. who has a giant shield to block projectiles, allowing you to lead the charge, and once that doesn't work, he can make a portal that leads everyone to do it again. The portal is an interesting point, actually. It's one of the coolest moves in the game. It connects 2 spots and you can hop through it, but you can also shoot. Think of everything you can do in the game Portal, but on a Marvel Rivals character. However, with its 180-second cooldown, a lot of people have to go with its best use, meaning that it gets used to dump teammates onto the point, and if you have any other ideas, you better enjoy being fucking screamed at. And then my newest favorite has been Command Grab Emma. She plays a lot like Invisible Woman in that she has a lot of abilities, and managing them is a part of playing her. Emma can project a shield, rip the mind out of someone and shoot it, deal damage with a scaling beam, turn into Diamond for a melee combo, kick enemies into walls, grab and slam them into the ground. Her kit is so insanely versatile that there are very few situations where you can't use Emma Frost. That isn't to say she's unstoppable though. Tanks deal sustained damage but can't hope to match what a damage hero can do. Their job is to be hard to kill and control the map. It's just that this incidentally looks a lot like killing people. The one thing about Tank is that it's really hard to tell if they're the ones throwing the game or not. Tanks have always acted as this invisible thing that controls the fight. It can be easy to criticize a damage player because his number is right there. The tank's job is to make space, but space is an abstract idea, a concept. You can't see it written down, but when you don't have it, you'll feel it. The key to me is when a fight is just not lasting very long. Like it ends before it even begins. There's no push. There's no time where the other 2 classes get to make decisions. Sadly, people want to act like they're damage heroes with a bigger health bar. Tanks have a phenotype that makes us want to flame them on instinct. The only reason most tank players get a pass in Rivals is because people are happy that they're there in the first place. Without a roll lock, that guy could be a 1,000-hour Magneto or a fucking martyr. In Overwatch, that guy is worth 2 of you, and he's signed up for this. He's essentially an elected official, so you can be as mean to him as you want. Sometimes team comp comes down to more than just getting 2-2-2. People are obsessed with 2-2-2 because it's balanced and neat, and that's how Overwatch was for many years. However, I can speak to my personal experience that it's been fine without a role queue. In comp, basically everyone knows what an unsavable team looks like, and if that starts to form, they'll swap. There have been very rare outliers, but I've almost always had 2 supports and 1 tank, bare minimum. And if the match went off the rails where everyone picked DPS, it's in quick play where they're all wagging their eyebrows at each other. This is just my experience, though. If you're getting games where it falls apart, you might need to make some adjustments with God instead of NetEase, because they aren't the ones punishing you. Yes, Rivals has a meta, but it actually has several different metas depending on the rank you're in. Sometimes by design. You have to climb to Gold 3 before you can ban, so in every matchup below that, the enemy is going to have a Groot and not know why. However, your team comp is going to hit a wall when it comes to one very specific thing. It's the closest thing Rivals has to an original idea, and it was initially the thing people thought would make this game dead on arrival. Team-ups are special abilities or buffs exclusively enabled when certain heroes are on the same team. For example, Invisible Woman can give out 150 HP shields to anyone else in the Fantastic Four. Rocket can ride on Groot's shoulders so that he has to do even less thinking. It creates an interesting dilemma because it objectively makes these characters stronger, but it asks you to conform the team to accommodate it. Storm has all the force of a great typhoon, and Johnny Storm all the strength of a raging fire. Together they can combine to create one of the most deadly ultimates in the game, an inferno tornado that swallows up everyone in its path. One ultimate is bad enough, but 2 of them together is enough to kill almost the entire team, only for you to finally get on point and find out that it's mysterious as the dark side of the moon. The hypothetical trade-off to a team-up like Storm and Johnny is that now you've opened up a new weakness, as you've now got 2 characters that fly and are hypothetically countered by the same heroes. Hitscan champions have notoriously been how you deal with flying ones. So one of their counters is the best hero in the game, and the other is one of the absolute worst. You might think this system could create a bottleneck for team comps because they're so powerful that it can create must-haves. That it doesn't really encourage team diversity as much as it makes people more likely to create very specific configurations to have those team-ups. But it turns out, the moment one seems a bit problematic, NetEase will erase it from existence and come up with a new one. Truth be told, asking how the meta will unfold is almost asking the wrong question. Marvel Rivals has boldly claimed it balances for fun. As if that's gonna make players happier. These are Overwatch players. It just means they'll demand hero changes, but instead of saying unbalanced, they'll call it unfun design. Though a continuation of that quote that most people ignore is, but competitive is also important, right? Because players also want an avenue to show off their mastery. It's not supposed to be a chaotic wonderland forever. It's a matter of the two audiences and the perspective of those audiences. Whether Rivals changes in response to them is another thing. Rivals has been very whimsical in the way it conducts itself. There is only one game where I can twerk Adam Warlock to death, or collectively throw the match with my team because we want to test the limits of certain characters. Like I said, I'm trying to stay on the good side of this game's mission. So I don't want a role queue. I want to feel like I'm making my own choices, not getting in a box. Though I don't know how long this side is going to stay in power, or how long Rivals is going to stay on the massive high it's been riding. For the first time since its inception, Rivals has had people upset with it. The stats on Ranked are a mess, and everyone's getting less points for doing more. Support and damage players have declared an impromptu race war, and the only thing holding the meta together is that you can ban Groot. There was a statement made, a pretty decent one. However, this will haunt the air until the next hero, Ultron, which will prompt everyone to go all hail Rivals, the killer of Overwatch. Then, it will happen again. Something, somewhere, some stupid mistake or people reading something wrong, the end of the fucking world. And from what I can tell, a lot of Marvel Rivals' plan is to just put out 3 times as much content so quickly that we can't stay mad at one thing for too long. Which honestly might work. A lot of online games have their biggest moments around new character releases, but that only happens once every 3 months, if you're lucky. Rivals is going to do it once a month. If the conversation is about so many things at once, how can you let one thing fester long enough to become a real pain point? Or at least a pain point that would affect the silent majority of Rivals players. While I'm just some asshole online, Rivals extends way past me. I promise you, none of my friends with a 9 to 5 have an opinion on Rocket's double healing bug. They only see some beach skins and are ready to log on. So I've made the decision to dumb myself down and enjoy what the casuals would because this is their home for now. At least until they add their first Brigitte or Skull Merchant. Even then, that's just another controversy down the road to be overcome. As long as they keep up that pipeline, dig through the comics, find a new hero, make the hero work for a majority audience in a short amount of time, get screamed at until you make the next one, and we forget. You know, Concord, I see that frown on your face, but I think at the end of the day, you might be the real winner here. Hey, thanks for watching. I noticed a lot of positive reception to the Columbo and Vegeta bit in the last video, so I thought I'd start to do a couple more of them. Also, if anyone wants to come at my Grandmaster rank, you're totally correct. I'm probably like a mid-diamond player at best. But I got the screenshot, baby, so I don't really care. I hope my voice sounds alright, honestly. This month has kind of sucked. I've been running around doing a lot of shit I really didn't want to do, and I'm tired as hell. Also, I'd like to thank the people on Patreon who have been making these videos possible. Sincerely, by the way. Every time someone signs up for Patreon, it's more stuff I can commission to make these videos better. I would especially like to thank Pyrozine, Anomaly, Rowby, where is my 20 bucks? Joke's on you, Dylan Robinson, Syrup, Anthony R. Chambers, Ethan A., Mario Fan 997, and Minnie McNugget. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it's still relevant to do a Marvel Rivals video. Also, I didn't get to say it in the video, but the main theme of this game, like Rivals to the End, is fucking amazing. Most people haven't listened to it, so after this video, you should absolutely go look that up if you haven't. Alright, cool. Thank you. Bye.